The restaurant shimmered that evening, chandeliers scattering golden light across the room, their glow bouncing off polished glasses and crisp white linens. Conversations murmured like a gentle tide, mingling with the slow, delicate notes of a piano. I had chosen this place carefully, weeks in advance, determined that everything would be flawless for our 10th anniversary. A decade of love, sacrifice, and building a life together deserved nothing less than perfection, or at least that's what I believed. She came late, as she often did. And yet when she finally entered, the entire room seemed to shift. Every head turned. She wore a red dress that seemed to burn under the lights, a dress that clung to her like it had been designed for no one else. Her perfume drifted in before her presence reached me, intoxicating and familiar. She smiled, but the curve of her lips was different than before, calculated, rehearsed, as though she was wearing someone else's expression. Still, I told myself tonight would be different. Tonight we would find each other again. The meal unfolded course by course, the dishes exquisite, the service seamless. But her attention wasn't with me. Every few minutes her phone would light up, pulling her away into another world. A world I wasn't invited into. She giggled at whatever filled the screen, her laughter softer and livelier than when I tried to remind her of the clumsy, nervous boy who once spilled coffee in front of her, the boy she used to tease affectionately. She barely reacted, nodding vaguely, her gaze flickering back to that glowing rectangle. I swallowed my unease, convincing myself not to let jealousy ruin the evening. But the knot in my chest tightened with every second that passed. Then the moment came, the one that would split my world open. The waiter arrived with dessert, a cake I had asked them to make with our initials delicately iced across it, a small but meaningful gesture I thought she would cherish. Before the plate even touched the table, she rose to her feet. She smoothed the fabric of her dress, her eyes fixed not on me, but on the entrance. A man walked in, tall, sure of himself. His presence seemed to command the room, though he moved with an air of arrogance that turned my stomach. He didn't pause, didn't hesitate. He walked straight toward her as though she belonged to him. And then, in front of me, in front of everyone, she kissed him. Not a polite, accidental brush. A kiss that left no doubt about who he was to her. Deep, intimate, possessive. The restaurant fell into silence. The only sounds were the clinking of silverware stopping abruptly, the shifting of chairs, and the sharp intake of shocked breaths. Whispers rose around me, spreading like wildfire, some filled with pity, others with curiosity. But I didn't see them. All I saw was her, my wife, laughing. Laughing as though I had been nothing more than a fool playing a part in her cruel performance. I pushed back my chair. My hands shook as I forced words through a throat that felt like it was closing. What? What is this? My voice cracked, but I already knew the answer. She didn't offer an explanation. She turned her head, her lips still marked by him, and laughed again. That laugh wasn't hers, the one I once loved. It was sharp, mocking, a deliberate wound meant to bleed me dry. I left. Not with an outburst, not with shouts or broken plates. Just silence. My body heavy as stone, my chest carved open. The outside world blurred. Headlights streaking like falling stars. Voices around me muffled by the relentless ringing in my ears. I wanted to collapse, to demand answers, to scream her name, but all I managed was to walk to my car and grip the steering wheel until my fingers turned ghostly white. Memories attacked me like daggers. Our wedding day when she whispered vows through tears. Nights where we mapped out a future under dim lamps, planning and dreaming together. All the time she had felt like the only safe place in a storm. Lies. Every single one of them. By the time I returned home, hours had passed. The house carried her scent as if mocking me. Her perfume lingered on the couch where we once curled together on Sunday nights. On the table sat a glass half finished, her lipstick marking its rim. I stared at it for a long time, as though it might explain why I wasn't enough. What had I missed? Where had I failed? Days bled into weeks. She never returned. She never called. The silence she left behind screamed louder than any fight could have. Friends tried to console me, urging me to let her go, to accept that she wasn't worth the grief. But they hadn't seen her in those quiet nights when she whispered that I was her forever, when she reached for my hand beneath the covers. Then one night my phone buzzed. A message from her. Just one line. "You made it too easy." I read it again and again, disbelief turning into something darker. Easy. Loving her had been effortless. Trusting her had been natural, instinctive. I never imagined betrayal could come so openly, so savagely. That message shattered me more than the kiss had. This wasn't a mistake or a lapse in judgment. It was her choice. A deliberate cruelty. It was then I realized that the woman I had loved was gone. Or perhaps she had never been real. Perhaps she had always been a mirage, an illusion I desperately held onto, blind to the truth beneath her surface. Healing didn't happen quickly. Nights stretched endlessly, sleep a distant memory. Every corner of the house carried ghosts of her. But time, slow and relentless, taught me to loosen my grip. To walk away wasn't weakness, it was survival. That night, when I left the restaurant, I hadn't been abandoning love. I had been saving myself from a lifetime of humiliation. She may have laughed as I walked out, but I wasn't the one left standing in that gilded room, exposed and defined by betrayal. Her laugh, sharp and cruel, was the last sound she would ever get from me. And on the nights when silence grows heavy and memories crawl back in, I remind myself of this simple truth. Love should never feel like a cruel joke you never realized you were the butt of.